Right. So, in context to the Gosu part, so in the last session, I told you about the introduction about the Gosu part. At the same time, we discussed about, I mentioned about statements, variables, all that stuff, right? So that's what something I have explained. Wherein today I'm going to explain you about some statement declarations. So when we are working on Gosu programming, when we are mentioning about statements. Okay. So in these statements, when we are gonna mention about any kind of variables and as well as strings. Yep. So when you are mentioning about this variable strings, all that. So how this can be presented, especially on the Gosu port, right? So because when we are seeing about the Gosu part, so Gosu as a console, there are different, right? So this is a double line statement, multi-line statement, which we need to be provided for the code, right? So for the example that I am showing you over the intervals and all that, in the same manner, when we are working on the statements, especially for variable declarations, etc. So this is generally that we do for variable declarations and all. Let's say, for example, variable is nothing but a variable name, as in when we have taken variable name, which is, for example, it's a data type. Okay, data type as in when I'm mentioning it. At the same time, variable name I'm taking, which is an initial value. Initial value I have taken. Okay. So for that, we need to update variable in the Gosu console as variable empty counter, which is an integer I'm taking. Okay, taking variable initialized counter we have taken, which is of 0. If we have taken variable as counter as 0, which is equivalent to 0, then counter will be counter plus 1. Okay. So this is something that when we want to be updating about under the statements, it's under the statements when we are trying to understand about variables and strings, all that stuff, this is something that we are going to run here. Understood, sir? You're clear?
Yeah.
Or you can make a note of this. Otherwise, if you want me to send the notepad itself, then I will send it to you. Right? So this
Yeah,
is
send it to me notepad so that it will be.
yeah, I will send it in the notepad so that you can see it. So this is something that we can write when it comes to the variables declarations. So if you want to be mentioned about variable declarations and all everything, so this is something that we can use it. Now, if there is any kind of string concatenation that we are going to mention over here, because for everything I'm taking one example. Okay, so then
Mm, mm.
it will, because all these not something mandatory. So a string concatenation we are taking, right? So for that we need to take variable count, because we don't need to write statements in Gosu, right? So single line or multi-line statements need not be written as like as in Java, because in Java we have to mention about single line and multi-line statements. For this here we don't need it. If you want, we can update. Okay, variable count, variable where in print into the value, print the value is list count. right? So this is how generally yeah, this is how generally string concatenation that we have mentioned, right? So variable count we need to be updated. If you want to provide the variable count, which is about, so which number are we going to provide? Let's say, for example, we are providing a number as 7, okay? Or else if you want to provide a number as 8, 9, right? So whichever variable count number that we need to be updated. So that's the reason why I just put a question mark here. So whichever number that we have given, we can print the value. This is comes under string concatenation. Generally, we create. This is another thing that we must be knowing. Right? So next, when if-else conditions, because if-else conditions also require else condition, if-else condition logic to be mentioned. Okay, so if-else condition logic, if we are mentioning about the condition, oh, writing down the statement over here. Statement of block. Else statement for log, right? Take it. Statement of block and take it. So here for this if else condition, there is a statement that I'm mentioning over here. For example, if today date equal to Wednesday, okay, or for example Tuesday, okay. So for example, today date equal to Tuesday. Next, yesterday equal to Monday. Next, tomorrow equal to Wednesday. Okay, now I've taken this first over here. Else conditions to be applied. Yeah. To be mentioned about the else condition where yesterday equal to that we need to be mentioned, which is we are presenting it as unknown, right? So because yesterday equal to unknown. Tomorrow equal to unknown. We are closing the state. Okay. So this is how generally the if-else conditions that we have to be updated. Understood, sir? You're clear?
Yeah, got it.
Right. So if-else conditions and all that. At the same time, for example, if there is any uh, ternary operators that we need to mention, okay. Ternary operators we need to mention. We are mentioning about the ternary operators, wherein to provide any kind of condition or true or false, right? So something of that in general. Variable we need to mention, variable integer one. Yeah, variable integer one. Wherein here uh, integer, integer I have taken as 7. Okay, I have taken integer as 7. Next variable integer 2. which is equal to integer equal to 10. I have taken. Next, now we need to update the print, mention the print command over here. So print command where uh, we have to update here, right? So integer 1 greater than true or false. Okay. So that we need to mention integer 2. Integer 1 greater than integer 2. Then we need to mention it. The first number is larger. This number is larger, wherein we will be mentioning the second number is larger. It's by specifying about the true and false condition. Wherein this generally integer 7 is the first integer that we have taken, which is lesser than integer 2. Hence, integer 10, the second integer will be the largest number. Herein we can see. So, when we are mentioning about the ternary operators and all everything, this is something that we need to be mentioned at this time. Is it clear, sir? Understood?
Yeah, got it.
Right. So, in the same manner, we can mention about the library functions also. Even library functions can also be mentioned over here. So library functions I mentioned. Because normally for library functions and all, we use Guidewire utility packages, Guidewire API dot util dot date util dot function name arguments. Yeah. This is something that we need to mention. Okay. At the same time, even this is Guidewire API utility you're mentioning as string util. For this, we have taken the function name as arguments. Arguments. We have taken arguments out there. Next, we have one more is Guidewire API util. Sample we were using math util here. Okay. Here we need to mention the function name as arguments. Okay, so these are the library functions we need to write. So Guidewire API utility, date or the string time or math, right? So that APIs that we can mention here. So for that we can update wherein we can create a variable declaration with any variable date names or any kind of date of week. So that we can mention depends on the date that we need to be mentioned. So which date it belongs to, that we can get it under the library functions. So for that we need to write the variable, for example, effective date. Effective date I am taking, which is about the date time I've taken. Which is effective date has been taken, which is equal to, for example,
Current date.
date here. Yeah, that I can mention. We have taken the today's date I'm just mentioning here. My date, okay, my date I'm mentioning. As because Java T packages we can use it because that's more or less the same. Java util.d. Java util.d. Variable if variable day of week, which is equal. Now we need to mention this pa dot util dot date util or the date again the date of a day of week name, which is an effective date, which is an effective date. Wherein here we need to print the effective date is on a day of week. Right, so on the particular date, the result will be today is Thursday, right? So that date we can mention over here. So this is how generally this library functions we can update, especially when we are working on the Gosu part. Is it clear, sir? Understood?
Yeah, got it.
Right. So these are the few things. Tomorrow I'll discuss about few more functionalities and all. I'll discuss
Okay.
possible. Try to complete this so that I will forward today itself. This notepad I'll
Oh,
be forwarding today. You please go
okay.
so that the major ones that are required for us to learn on this is queries. Gosu
Okay.
queries that we need to learn. So that we are going to discuss tomorrow. I'll
Okay.
explain you about the basic queries. What are the basic queries and as well as result sets, or if there is
Okay.
any, if you want to view any approximate sequels, approximation of sequels, that part we
Mm.
are going to discuss in tomorrow's session.
Okay.
Huh? Okay, sir.
Mhm.